Good morning. How are you? I was just glancing, looking for Lucy. She was just here. She gets bored very easily. It's a little warm in here too, and it's cluttered. It needs to be cleaned. I might do that this weekend. We'll have to wait and see. Holiday time's coming up. I got to do a lot of visiting and stuff. That's just what we do. Let me see. What else is going on? Today is Thursday. There's a game tonight. All right, let's do that first. Oops. Wrong click. Let's go over here. Do it this way. How do I hit A, N, and get H? Oh, that's because it's right above. Okay. Yeah. Houston Bills going to be the Bills, folks. Sorry, Houston. I'm not even sure they're starting quarterbacks in play. Okay, that takes care of the football stuff for today. Do the rest of the schedule tomorrow. What else can I do right now? Okay, let's start out. Who am I starting out with? Marjorie Taylor Greene. And there are stories about how the Democrats should approach Marjorie Taylor Greene. You don't approach Marjorie Taylor Greene, first of all right? Marjorie Taylor Greene is a female J.D. Vance. You know, she said all this crap in favor of Trump, and now she's turning around and saying, she's saying with cautionary quotes that she disagrees on these policies, but she still thinks Trump is the man because she's a white supremacist. She's not going to date a black guy, trust me. You know? I mean, once she sees his dick, she might date him, but, you know, that's a myth, by the way. All right. So we know that's, you know, that's not something we want to do. Two-faced pricks aren't somebody we want in office, you know. And if her fans want to elect her senator, that's their problem. It's going to be the Republicans' party's problem, and it's going to be everybody's problem. I mean, she's a little off center mentally, I think. I'm not real sure about her. I don't think she's just a cagey intellectual. I think she's stupid. It's scary. Okay. That takes care of Marjorie. Bye, Marjorie. Now you got, again, my least favorite subject, but one that has to be talked about, which is AI, artificial intelligence. And people seem to forget stories about them, you know, and the fact that this is, as somebody who's developing AI, do they have emotions? Does AI have emotions like humans? Can they be empathetic? Or do they just see things in black and white? And they'll tell you that they can be empathetic, which is not true. Logic isn't empathetic, you know. Logic is simply black and white. And that's what, you know, logic theorems are what run AI. So, you know, they're not going to be, they're not somebody you want taking care of the baby. You know what I mean? But this is what they say, you know, it depends. You're talking about taking the human brain of a extremely well-rounded individual with no temper whatsoever, very little temper problems, and a good sense of humor, and mapping that brain's every little nook and cranny and emotion and whatnot, and then programming that into an artificial intelligence. I don't think it can be done successfully for any period of time. I think the human brain is always developing. Its personality is constantly changing. There might be a base there, but given the right set of circumstances, the personality will change. Take the commas. It's been done before. I mean, it's been done in like places like Russia and whatnot, where they're guidelines for experimenting on humans aren't quite as sophisticated as ours. And you go there and you see they'll take a perfectly sane, calm individual, not a violent bone in their body, and put them in a very stressful, threatening situation, and they'd kill their mother if they had to. They may feel horrible about it afterwards, but they'll do it to survive. And they'll tell you that's why they did it, because they needed to survive. So AI is not one of my favorite ideas, you know. Now there's an article on Mother Jones. I don't know if you read that stuff that or not, you know. It's a newsletter of sorts. And it's all about John Roberts' history with racism. How he's changed and tweaked laws for the last 10 or 20 years. And giving the white people more of an advantage than getting rid of the anti-segregation how would you call it, equal rights type situation, and go back to some sort of segregation, which wasn't effective and caused more problems than it cured. And surprisingly, most of the problems weren't about the black people as a race. They were about the fact that the people that they were bringing in needed special education because they just weren't smart enough. Whether it's white people or black people, the educational system was suffering because of that anti-segregation movement at times. You know, that wasn't being done properly. It wasn't done properly. I mean, it was done because it had to be done, and it was being done too fast. You know, so that's just something you have to look at. You know, and see what's going on in your community. But it's like my mom. You know, we're not going to survive by ourselves. This world is too fucked up for one race to survive by itself. Okay? If it does, it's going to be an extinction event that we have no control over, that takes care of everybody else. All right? That's, it's going to be a natural occurrence. It isn't going to be something we're going to do ourselves. Oh boy, I'm tired this morning. All right? So you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, AI, and John Roberts. Boy, that's a depressing threesome, isn't it? You know, I've got more depressing shit. Don't worry about it. You know, it's easy to, you know what's bad about the news? When you go looking through the articles and whatnot that you read, trying to find a happy story, you know, that's just not easy to do anymore. You can't. You know, you find depressing stories. And, I mean, I'm sure there's good news out there someplace, but the odds, you know, you really have to look for it. You shouldn't have to look for it. You know, it should be there. And I'm not talking about a happy ending story where, you know, some guy was on the board, you know, destitute, living a life, and they spend 12 pages of the article telling you how bad his life was, and then miraculously his life turned around. I'm not talking about miracles. I'm talking about everyday life, you know. There's no reason for us to be walking around as depressed as we are. And now you're coming in on the East Coast anyhow, and most of the northern half of the country, you're coming into winter. That is an extremely depressing time because depending on where you live and how much bad weather you get, you don't get out of the house. Now, I have Lucy's here. You can't see her. What happened? Oh, I know what I did. Okay. Here she is. With Lucy, she has, see when I say her name, her tail wags. She likes to go across the street and run around in the grass and just lay down on the dirt and next to me or something, you know, when I'm sitting on a bench. and we're just looking around, watching the birds and all the various animals come by. There's other dogs or what have you. Oh, excuse me. But now, from a human standpoint, I can't walk across the street over there right now because it's so muddy. It's we're getting half an inch of rain every night, and that ground is so saturated now that just it's puddles constantly, and the puddles aren't water; they're mud, and it's disgusting. So I don't go over there, and I feel bad for Lucy. She doesn't get to go and do her thing, like she likes to do, and I like to let her run around because it's actually easier for me to walk her when she's doing that. I just stand there and watch her, and then she comes back to me and we sit and we converse a little bit. Yes, I talk to my dog. Not about politics and stuff like that. I ask her, you seen the squirrel lately or something, things like that. We just talk just to keep noise going, Sometimes I zone out and I just sit there quietly because it's just so freaking peaceful, and there's no traffic or something. Like Sundays is a great day. You go over there on a Sunday, you'll see every exotic animal that's in that area. You'll see, you can possibly see anything, and that's what I like about this part of the world. So, but you don't have that pressure. All right, so let me see what else is going on, just for kicks. Why did it do that? Sometimes I worry about this computer. Oh, did I not tell you that story? Trump and Vance weren't invited to Dick Cheney's funeral. I had it written down. I didn't talk about it. Yeah, I think that's an honest opinion. They don't like each other. He didn't like him. Cheney was vice president for Nixon. I mean, he was no angel. Cheney was absolutely no angel when it came to certain types of politics. But with in regard to the family, Liz isn't going to let him show up at the funeral. They hate each other. Which Trump is definitely losing his mind. Wow. This is interesting. I don't know, I believe this, but I don't believe everybody thought this. They say most Americans believe the U.S. is on the path to another civil war. Possibly. But they're on the path to the war that different than the Civil War in the 1800s. This one's going to be more of a race war. This is what Madsen and some other people tried to start. This is what it's going to be. If it happens, that's what it's going to be. I don't know. I think scary stuff. They say unemployment's going up. I think what happens with unemployment is that the severance packages a lot of these people got when they left or were laid off or whatever, they're all running out now. So you've got probably and what they do is they start filing now because they need money for the holidays. They don't care much about they can suffer the rest of the year, but the holidays, that's when people definitely need extra cash. And that's when they'll go to unemployment or wherever to try and get that extra cash or that money to help them maintain the illusion of everything being all right during the holidays. Mike Johnson's going to be in trouble because Thune is one of the architects, I believe, of 2025. So we'll have to wait there. they're finally understanding something, that the military action in Venezuela would backfire. Look, you have to look at the countries that we've down there that we've messed around with in the past, and the results have not been positive. Okay, we've supported. Just look at Cuba. We supported the wrong man there. All right, he didn't, and then we screwed the guy. I mean, it was quite possible that we could have maintained a better relationship with Cuba had we not decided that he was a pariah because he was a communist. They don't understand anything. That's what I say. World politics is something I don't think anybody understands. Trump thinks it's the same as business, where you have money and you bribe people and you do this and you do that. But there's been no long-lasting solutions, that weren't based monetarily or on a sale of weapons or something like that. That's just the way it is. That's just Donnie Boy and everybody. All right, listen up. I think I'm getting bored. I have a commentator that definitely wants to hold conversations with me, and I'm not good at conversations. I tend to have ruined relationships with conversation. Ask my wife. I might give it a shot. I have to figure out how I'm going to do it, but I might give it a shot. I only have one or two. I have really right now one friend that I talk to maybe every 10 days or so down here, and that's because we're very similar. He's 40 years, he's half my age, he's 40 years old. And he's much more mature than the average 40-year-old in America is right now, I'll tell you that. But that's, I don't mean to slight people. It's just I'm not really good at it, because I like to talk, and I'm not so much listen as I like to talk. So I guess that's the problem. That's why I do this, because I don't have to listen to anybody. I don't even listen to myself, really. So. But I'm going to see, because he's a nice guy. He's been very good to me, and we'll wait and see what happens. All right? Maybe I'll set something up, because I got to do some conversations with my family soon. So, anyhow, tomorrow's football prediction day. I'm not doing Sundays. So... And I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. I'm celebrating it not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. We're going to do it. So, I have a little bit of time left to get some stuff I need and whatnot. But in the meantime, subscribe to my channel. Make me happy. You got Christmas coming. You got my birthday coming up in January. Subscribers are getting me subscribers as a present. So, all right, everybody, take care. I'll see you mañana.